Greetings, kings and queens. Welcome to another Real Stuff podcast. This is yours truly, Franco. And I'm going to be linking up with Flavius in a few minutes. So in the meantime, if you got to get your tea, your coffee, whatever drink you have this time of the morning, go ahead and go fill up if you have to fill up, or refill if you have to refill as well. And today we have Mr. Teddy Laidley each and every Monday, and he'll be doing the really current news in Jamaica, the Caribbean, and around the world. So don't go nowhere, because we'll be right back.
This is your very own sports, music, and lifestyle podcast with Flavius and Franco. Welcome.
Stop the rubbish.
Just tread it carefully, and be careful how you step in. When you are reason, do it consciously, but be mindful what you're saying. When me are moving skillfully, they must like tackle me, I shift them. The words I speak is reality. This hypocrisy, it is a problem. So we've got to keep toiling on, cause it has been too long. Why mankind just can't get along? I said the whole of we belong. No matter be your color or creed, the whole of we are just human being. Time for we just all take heed on this power struggle and greed. Stop it. The corruption, Babylon, and spread, and we no love it. And we no love it. Then I get it. Rastafari love, and we a spread it. We a spread it. Stop it. Corruption, Babylon, and deal with, we no love it. We no love it. Then I get it. Love of Rastafari, we a spread it. Hey. Miss J. Babylon, your throne gone down. Now we no need you around. Who can the dollar be different from the pound? We no must take man for clown. So what is this thing that's going down? What is it that I have found? See, I and I got to stand my ground. Pick them with word, power, and sound. We not deal with no fantasy. I strip the roots and reality. 1% of all the money, 99 in a poverty. Them instituting these policies to make it harder for poor families. Them things are causing discrepancies. Babylon, at time you fi flee. Stop it. Corruption, Babylon, I deal with, we no love it. We no love it. Then I get it. Love of Rastafari, we a spread it. Stop it. Corruption, Babylon, I deal with, we no love it. We no love it. Then I get it. Love of Rastafari, we a spread it. Corruption where Babylon has spread. It look like them want poor people for leather. The burden them a carry said it heavy as leather. Them not give you no help, them want to kill you instead. And you know if you say Babylon it a run red. The homeless come and place me say feel lay them head. Say big they gone to school and them not even fed. So listen to the words me just said, not it dead. Stop it. Corruption, Babylon, and deal with, we no love it. We no love it. Them no get it. And a Rastafari love, and we a spread it. We a spread it. stop it. Corruption, Babylon, and this, we don't love it. We don't love it. Them not get it. And a Rastafari love and we spread it. Hey. Mystery Babylon, it's a run red. Them a corruption lay down in a bed. Mystery Babylon,
Yes, reaching out to you, the artist, Ras, Tony, Stop the Corruption. And this one is hot off of the press. Sent to me last night. So we have Flavius on the line.
Good morning, Franco. Good morning, listeners, viewers. The Real Stuff Podcast, friends and family. Welcome to a new week, a new month. And right now, Hurricane or Zeta is passing by.
Hurricane Eta.
Or Eta is passing by. So for the past couple of days, we have had, some sporadic rain and sun. But last weekend we had major damage, $2 billion worth of damage. And then that wasn't even a storm. Well, it eventually became a storm. So now we have another one following up on the one last week. But not yet. So hopefully it will just pass us by. Because we can't take another 2 billion and that 2 billion. That's a bit much.
Jamaica have to start.
So how is it?
Brace. Because we never expect hurricane season to be this, what you call it?
Carried on so long.
So long, yeah.
Yeah.
Never expect it for prolong.
Yeah, but it is.
But on our side, we have sunshine. Yesterday was a bit warmer than the normal. It coming like it was summer yesterday. So it was warm enough. This morning we have the sun out, the sun is shining. But we know Florida, maybe by midday or after midday, we start getting some heavy rain. But we are expecting to get some rain as well. Because as to the projection of how they said this storm, by the time it reaches over in what you call it, like Belize area, it should develop into a category 1 and go into category 2. So wherever it's going to land, it's supposed to land as a 2 or a 3. So going to be following that because we know we have some people over in that region. And want to make sure that them are all right as well.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll be keeping an eye on the weather. See what the forecast will be like between today and tomorrow. Yeah. Then on another note, we know the virus is rising and rising and rising. And records have been shattered. One day record that was held by India with 97,000 was shattered by the US at 98,000 infected in one day. So for Saturday, Sunday, I think we're in a big number as well. But from that number, 1,039 people died out of that big number. So in my state, we're in a plus 5. Because, with the campaign and the rallies, one party is exercising social distancing. So they have their supporters in their cars. And they say if you can't touch your car, that means you're not standing at your car. So you have to be standing near your car. and listen to the speaker, and you blow your horn, if you're in agreement, then there's another party which we all know which that party is. This is the Republicans. They are campaigning and they're packing their supporters into arenas, at tarmacs and all them things. The tarmac, sorry about it. At the tarmac, at the airports and things like that. And they're doing it as if, hey, it's the norm. Some people with masks, some people don't have a mask. And, it's so ironic.
Yes, I hear you.
There was a news reporter from Britain. You know that Sky News Sports, Sky Sports News actually, a Sky Sports News reporter was talking to a lady up in the Midwest area from Michigan. And her husband died of the virus. And she of course was in mourning. But when the reporter asked her, so what is it would you like to to tell the rest of the world who really don't get it yet? She said, well, my whole dream and excitement is to go to one of the president rally. And the lady said, are you serious? And she said, yes, because I want to see what it's like. I want to be in a crowd like that. And the lady said, but will you be wearing your mask knowing that your husband died from? She said, no. She said, no, Flavius. So when you hear something like that, it make you wonder.
Those
are these people fools?
crazy people.
No, them not crazy. Them are fools.
That's all I can say.
Because you couldn't be crazy, Flavius. A crazy man know exactly when him see danger. Saying?
Oh, run like what?
If you can witness your husband die of it, you could never be crazy. You must be a fool. So she said, yeah, she want to experience one of the rally like that. And I'm like, them people are, and then the next thing is accusing doctors of making money off of the death of these people. The medical association, the whole medical field is totally up in uproar against him because he's saying that they're getting reimbursement. They're getting reimbursement or something. They're making $2,000 off of the death of these patients. Can you imagine that? So basically he's saying the doctors have finished them off because they're getting $2,000 off of each death certificate that they sign. You get it?
Yeah.
So, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's a turning point in America history. I have a friend in Trinidad who say him want him win for mash up America. But him no know so the effect will happen to him as well around the world. As one person said, this man is like a snake oil salesman. Because the things he do and say and trying to get re-elected is unbelievable, my friends. But Flavius, it's what it is, They made him.
Yeah.
So they have to live with him. They made him. So they have to deal with him. They have to deal with them. But you haven't did for us this morning? Because we have Teddy coming up in a few moments.
I think this morning we will be still continue with the food.
Yeah, we're wrapping up. I think we're wrapping up the food. We're on the final leg of banana.
Alison, complete wrapping the food. Yeah, wrapping the food thing.
All right, take it away.
Tomorrow we start with a new topic.
The banana and plantain family are botanical berries that have been used for starch for a long time. The fruit is variable in size, color and firmness, but is usually elongated and curved with soft flesh rich in starch, and covered with a rind which may be green, yellow, red, purple or brown when ripe. Bananas are sweet, particularly from the Cavendish group, while plantains are starchier, less sweet, and are eaten cooked rather than eaten raw. bananas constitute a major staple food crop in developing countries. The most common edible banana is Cavendish, which may be unviable for large-scale cultivation in the next 10-20 years. Cavendish plants are all genetically identical, which them vulnerable to diseases such as Panama disease and black sigatoka disease. World banana production amounts to around 81 million tons per year. Due to the climatic conditions required to grow them, production is mainly concentrated in developing countries in Asia, the Caribbean, and Latin America. In the Windward Islands and the rest of the Caribbean, especially Dominica, holdings are in the 1 to 2 acre range. For many Latin America and the Caribbean producer countries, bananas are a crucial cash crop, and the majority of these bananas are exported. In the Caribbean, production is usually done by private stakeholders, with the government providing support to producers. For the Windward Islands, the industry has been the most important sector since the 1950s. Most farmers are organized under the Windward Islands Farmers Association, WINFA, which links national organizations of small farmers in each country. In St. Vincent, banana production employs upwards of 60% of the workforce and accounts for 50% of merchandise exports. Meanwhile, Jamaica's exports have declined significantly since 2008, and the country now mainly produces for local consumption. Why invest in bananas? Governments are taking steps to find more disease-resistant banana varieties which can, in turn, make the industry more profitable in the future, such as Jamaica's work with Honduras varieties of bananas that are more resistant to black sigatoka disease and are better suited to value-added banana products. Creating more value-added products from bananas may increase earning potential for banana farmers. Product benefits. Bananas help you reach weight loss goals, keep your bowels healthy, provide nutrients that regulate heart rhythm, and have vitamin. I am Alison Goodness with today's Did You Know?
Giving you some conscious songs this morning. Earlier you heard from Rasto 9. Yes, his song was totally about stop the corruption. But right now I'm going to give you one from Asante Aman. Take it away.
It's all about kingdom rising and falling, the fall of illusions and ego, and the rise of the true I. Rasta well done, Asante Amen. Hear this.
Be true to yourself. True to yourself. Be true to yourself.
Don't be afraid to change.
Be true to yourself. Be true to yourself. Be true to yourself.
Hear this. Be true to yourself. Take off the mask you wear to please the system. Don't allow nobody to tell you what to say. Remember, life is more than 9 to 5 every day. So only do what your inner self deserves. Take a walk, meditate and burn your earth. Though it's difficult, don't have to shed no tears. That change I know some feel fair.
Be true to yourself. True to yourself. Be true to yourself.
Don't be afraid to change.
Be true to yourself. Be true to yourself. Be true to yourself.
So burn off the crosses, hold some ices. Start to see life for what life is worth. Take off the wool if your eyes covered. Remember burn ego and hype, yes, that's the right thing. Make sure you put for your goals in first. And anything else you that have to reverse. And be true to yourself. True to yourself. Be true to yourself. Don't be afraid to change. Be true to yourself. Be true to yourself. Be true to yourself. If you look, you see mankind lose their life. Physically, spiritually, all the time. Caught in a web where the world designed to keep us blind. But watch out, power in a you feel right above it. When no door is open, use a hammer and hook it. And make your true wife reveal. And be true to yourself. True to yourself. Be true to yourself. Don't be afraid to change. Be true to yourself. True to yourself. Be true to yourself. Yes, be true to yourself. True to yourself. Be true to yourself. Be true to yourself. Be true to yourself. Be true to yourself. Yes, be true to yourself. Don't lie to yourself. Forward and forward. And Jah will bless you. Asante Amen. Rasta Wende. Lassie I love.
Yes, indeed. You're listening to the Real Stuff Podcast with Flavius and Franco. And I'm Franco, and Flavius is coming all the way from
Enfield, St. Mary, Jamaica.
And that's so.
Yep.
broad and wide. We can transmit to you
Oh,
weekdays
yes.
from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Week mornings, weekdays, whatever you want it to be. It's your podcast. Our next song coming up is from the artist Azzy and, well, actually two artists, Azzy and Stevie G. And these
Duet, yes.
gentlemen are veteran in the music business. And the song is basically Where We Go Wrong. And listen to this song and tell me. I want your feedback on it. For those of you listening and watching this morning, give us your feedback. If you're in the chat room right now, or you're just viewing and watching and you want to give your feedback, just subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, and go in the chat room and give us your feedback. Or you can text us via WhatsApp 305-964-0373. 305-964-0373. Because we want to know if we're pleasing you with the songs or if the song, have some message in it. So let us know what you think. Right, Flavius?
Oh, yes, definitely. Definitely.
And Flavius know these two artists.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
So listen up to this one. Where We Go Wrong.
Where we go wrong, where we go wrong, where we go wrong, where we go wrong. We have a nice little island and now I mash up the place. With the gun and the war and the crime is such a disgrace. We used to play domino on the corner run with little rain. Domino, domino. We never teeth Matty Pudding cause everyone gets a taste. I tell you, where we go wrong, where we go wrong, where we go wrong, where we go wrong. We used to have respect for our elders and mind our ways. Good manners were the in thing back in those days. We were proud of our country and culture, no prizes we win. Where we go wrong, where we go wrong, where we go wrong, where we go wrong. We have a nice little island and now I mash up the place. With the gun and the war and the crime is such a disgrace. We used to play domino on the corner run with little rain. Domino, domino. We never teeth Matty Pudding cause everyone gets a taste. I tell you, where we go wrong, where we go wrong, where we go wrong, where we go wrong. We used to have respect for our elders and mind our ways. Good manners were the in thing back in those days. We were proud of our country and culture, no prizes we win. We win. Now we look to foreign cause yard and bleach out with skin. Where we go wrong, where we go wrong, where we go wrong, where we go wrong.
for a joke. There is a link with the gun and the coke. If we don't stop this madness we're doing, our country will be in a ruin. Make the effort, improve our ways. Remember the good old days when our young girls grew into ladies, not mothers while you're still babies. Where we go wrong, where we go wrong, where we go wrong, where we go wrong. We have a nice little island, I know I'm a show to play.
Where did we go wrong? Music of Ozzy D and Stevie J. Flavius, where did we go wrong?
Lots of places. I think we went wrong from way in the 50s. We went wrong from where we got tricked to lead the federation.
Okay.
Because my point is, you could still be independent and be in the federation. It shouldn't be either or situation. Doesn't make any sense to me at all.
True. Well,
because all those countries in the European Union are independent countries.
Yeah.
But they are also part of the Union. You know? That's where we went wrong.
Okay.
First part away. Number two, we went wrong again when we converted our currency. That was not done properly.
From pound to dollars and cents?
Yeah, to Jamaican currency. And then we just left the Jamaican currency out there to fend for itself. We should never have done that. In fact, when we did the conversion, our money became so big, you know, so in the amount, but it affected us later on, you know. We should have devalued our money at that time and put it below the US dollar. And all that, and we'd have a lot of money that we could have saved at that time.
Okay.
The financial policy was not thought out properly at all. I don't know, all these economists we have at the university, should have come and help and put us in a good place so we understand the currency.
So, by the way, should we have kept the pound too as well? As a secondary?
We could have. Yeah, we could have. Because
other countries
Panama,
do it. Other countries do it.
Yeah, Panama, we would have been much better off because then it would have been a solid currency without all the variation. Look at Panama. From Panama started, you know, they started in a dollarized state, using the US dollar as their currency, as their standard currency, or their currency, the Panama. It's tied to the. In fact, in Panama, they don't print a banknote.
Okay. Tell you what, make we get Teddy before.
Yeah.
And then we can talk about this because we want to utilize him as much as possible this morning before him get busy. All right? So let's call Teddy right here now. Yes, each and every Monday we have the really current news in Jamaica, the Caribbean, and around the world with none other than Mr. Teddy Laidley. You know him affectionately as Teddy. Morning, Teddy.
Morning to you and your listeners, and morning to Flavius. And as I said, we started out on a wet weekend because tropical storm that should turn into a hurricane Zeta is south of Jamaica, and it is a 28th named storm for the season. And as a matter of fact, it's the first named storm within the Atlantic Basin.
Yeah.
Using that name. So between now and Thursday, we should have between 5 to 10 inches of rain across Jamaica, along also it affects the Cayman Island. And it also go against the Hispaniola coast, along that region, heading down with a touch of Colombia and countries within that region.
I'm telling you.
So it's a wet weekend, and although the sun is basically peeping out here in Kingston, I don't know across the other portion of the island, but currently we having a little bit of sunshine here in Kingston. But as you know, they said don't judge it by its looks.
Yeah.
But it's a weather.
Jamaica is like Kingston, 21. Have a little sun, then it just change.
Yeah, how is Miami?
It's the same thing. You know, we have a little sunshine going on right now, but we know by the time it hit the mid-afternoon, we should be getting rain, because the weatherman tell us that today we'll be getting some rain. So we're expecting it to rain.
And I take it you're all preparing for tomorrow. Big day, a day of reckoning. Is that
I'm anxiety killing me. Anxiety killing me.
I just heard that a dozen of boxes are found in Homestead in the Florida Peninsula that for the past week have not been delivered.
Absolutely true.
So that says a lot.
Absolutely true, sir.
There are persons currently, especially in the diaspora, and you know Jamaica. You know Jamaica is very strong in the diaspora, and we like to let our listeners know when we talk about the diaspora, we talk about the areas we are heavily infested, with Caribbean persons, and that's the New York, the Miami, the New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia, Washington, anywhere there heavily Caribbean persons.
Yes.
And just recently, some Jamaicans in the United States are expressing fear that a win for President Trump on tomorrow will present a greater danger for minorities and further erode the gains made over the years. Most are hanging on the hope that Joe Biden's victory, with polls suggesting that the former vice president could take control of the White House from January, because as a lot of people are aware, it's not like election here in Jamaica when we had election on September 3rd, where the votes came in, because naturally we are a smaller country compared to the United States. So the following day, as a matter of fact, the night, the opposition leader, Dr. Peter Phillips, conceded to Andrew Holness.
Okay.
And therefore, everybody knows the results. So by the weekend, everything was in place. Now, in the United States, it's a little bit different, because you take office, the inauguration takes place in January.
Yes.
All right. So by December, mid-December, the results shall be known. I don't think the United States want to go back to what happened between Al Gore and Bush.
I don't think so, but some, like the Republican Party, are betting on that. That might be the case.
Yes.
Yeah, they're betting on that.
And as a matter of fact, the Secretary of State for Ohio, Frank LaRose, downplaying the U.S. post-election mass violence because there are some places in Washington because I think it's like Walmart that also sell firearms.
Oh yes.
These places are battened down.
All of them think the button down already.
They batten down most of those places where firearms are sold. So, no, that's an indication they must have had some insight or some information, or I would imagine that you're doing what you call a precautionary measure.
Absolutely, because the incumbent we call it candidate,
Yeah,
his speeches, as the reporters are saying, are inciting violence.
yes,
Telling his supporter, because on Friday there was an incident that happened in Texas. A campaign bus on its way to a campaign rally was basically
yeah.
blocked on the highway, and that was to pull over.
Hmm.
And he texted on Twitter, "I love Texas." That now, that is like throwing fuel on the fire to make it blaze more. So now this
Yeah, and
morning the FBI decided to investigate the matter, and he again tweeted.
well, it's like for example, the situation of the U.S. ambassador here to Jamaica. Last week we were talking about his response to why we should not be using 5G from China, but use 5G from provider.
From
Um,
Carlo of company.
right. So the question now, there was a serious backlash on on um on the social network pages, and the are you hearing me?
I'm hearing it clear, clear, clear.
Yeah, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Miss Johnson Smith, um, I had a talk with him, but what persons are saying that he did not display diplomatic cordial,
Okay.
and this is not the first time he have outbursts like that because during a demonstration in embassy by the Black Lives Matter, seen as it also was having a global impact across the world.
Yes.
Floyd Johnson should not be seen as a martyr. And again, there was another case here in Jamaica that I made mention some time ago with the alligator being said to by somebody putting dogs in, and he was saying that he would give $5,000 for information leading to that. I don't know, because he's not a career diplomat, just like his boss, the president.
Yes.
There is not a level of diplomacy where you, as a foreign, what we call it, go into a country and you must respect their sovereignty, right? Despite you might be supportive
Yes.
in terms of economy, because we know that the number one and number two financial come from the United States, that is remittance and tourism. And we make over how many millions of dollars from tourism here. But that doesn't give you the right to meddle into the country, sovereignty, because number one, we are an independent nation.
Yes.
And although you might give us grants and assistance over the years, there are certain things that you should ought not to do. And I would imagine that if he was a career diplomat, then his training would have kicked in, and then don't come out and say certain things. because when you look over the years of former ambassadors who are stationed here, the love that Jamaicans give them, that I can tell you, there was a former ambassador when our tour of duty was finished. He did not go back to the United States to open business here in Jamaica.
Okay. But let me ask you,
Right?
Teddy. Let me ask you, Teddy. I have a question to ask. Maybe Flavors and you might know it more than I. Say this ambassador is controversial. Can he be, we call it, remove?
Yeah, that's what.
Recalled.
Yeah, can he be whatever? Remove, recall, ejected?
No,
Of
yes.
course. Yes.
As a matter, one of the most famous situation years ago was Ulysses Estrada, who Cuban ambassador to Jamaica during those frivolous times there of the 70s.
Yes, I remember him, yes.
And he was heavily involved with Jamaica, and at the time, Thiago lashed out to have him recalled, and he was sent out of the country.
Okay.
And like 2 years.
So it's in the hands of the Prime Minister then?
No. It's supposed to be in the hands of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade.
Of the US.
Along with the Governor General, because when they arrive in the country, is that they have to give their credentials to the Governor General. It's not the Prime Minister, and it's the Minister of Foreign Affairs.
So citizens have to pressure those two those two part of the
thing about it, is that if you have, there are several civil groups, and this is what we're saying, that we should be hearing from these civil groups who are major watchdog on the behalf of the citizens, because it's not everything that the citizens should then jump up and say. But the difference here is that his excuse, that is the ambassador excuse, that it was his assistant who sent out the tweet. No, the bottom line is that, he said that.
a female, but it's on his Twitter page, so he's the responsible.
No, but whether it's on the Twitter page or whether your assistant, the buck stop with you.
Exactly.
You are the ambassador. So for anything that comes out, you should be accountable. And so what it is saying to me, just like what the president of the United States said, they take no responsibility, because that's exactly, in my opinion, he's saying, I'm not taking responsibility. It was my assistant. Right? No, to me, that is lame.
Introduction for the
No, you break up for a second there.
I'm here.
Yeah. So there was a backlash on the social media regard to that, because some of the things that he said was very insensitive. So comments being made that person must be smoking the ganja, which was spelled Ganga, rather than Nja. One person saying that he must be drinking too much of the US vodka, and his response was like, yeah, because you're drinking a cheap one. Those kind of things that, it should never, put it this way.
Him boss rub off on him, man. Him boss rub off on him. Because that's the same way the boss would carry on.
So that is one of the donor that was given this perk to say, well, okay, fine, go down to Jamaica. But what I'm saying is undermine my thinking. This is just my opinion and thinking. You cannot have a State Department where you're training persons to at least fulfill some roles and responsibility within their embassies, of course, because that is part of your foreign policy, right? International foreign policy. where you have a State Department that is training people, and then you're supposed to have what called career diplomat, meaning that you come into the department and the ultimate goal as someone who is in the foreign service is to be one day either under secretary or what we call consular general or ambassador to our overseas country. Now, when you come into the foreign service and you see your bypass because of political appointment, right? Because somebody made a donation to your party, and this is one way you pay back that person by forcing them overseas, and they don't understand the nuances, the culture, the economics of the country. Because if Mr. Tapia was a career politician, career diplomat, right? Then he would have understood the nuances and certain things. His utterance would not have been fueled.
True, the people them want to rise up on him and protest on him every day.
No. But if you're a career diplomat, you would not have gone down that road. I've never done that because your training would have dictated.
True.
Like certain things that don't behave in a sovereign country.
You know, because in some, like in some Middle East countries, there was an ambassador who made a statement once about the prophet. Well, them call that that Islamic prophet. Can't remember his name. Yeah. And they put out a bounty on his head. And them have to recall him because they protest every day, and eventually them had was to recall him. So
yeah, man. The thing about it is that if you're going to set up a foreign affairs organization through the State Department or even in terms of Jamaica, we need to start with people in it who are career people and stop doing political favors. And the same thing goes for Jamaica. So Jamaica is not a committee now because right now our ambassador to Washington is a businessman who the perks on the two administration through Mr. Golden. You understand? And so when you look at it, if you go to the University of the West Indies and did your degree in international relationships and you enter the foreign service here in Jamaica, right? And your ultimate ambition is to make it as an ambassador or a consulate general in a foreign country. And when you look at it, someone who have no training in diplomacy, in international foreign policy, just come over and start the head of the organization and then have to turn to you for guidance. It's a total, I just said, no wonder cronyism and nepotism will always continue.
Yeah, man.
Because the cases that we're talking about with Mr. Tapia was cronyism. And the same thing with our ambassador who is in Washington, because she's a businesswoman. She runs a company here in Jamaica. And everybody know Audrey Marks or other person behind Peer Master.
Okay.
So it's not something we're making up or trying to discredit or trying to discredit Mr. Tapia. The reality is that he was a donor for the Republican Party, and this is one way of he being given payback. I don't know what the situation with all the marks, but the fact is that there are persons who are inside the Foreign Affairs Ministry in Jamaica who are competent and was able to carry out that job, and who have been in affairs for a long time, who could have come up the ladder. So that's all I see. It's time we stop put people in position who are trained and who are competent in that area.
Absolutely.
Or you can scrap the simple as that.
A true thing, man, because
So
the same thing goes for the Postmaster General in the USA.
there you go.
He's another big contributor to the Trump campaign. And yet still,
Right, and
he was put in place to suppress some of these mail-in ballots.
Yes.
You know?
So it's sad. It's a sad case, and like I said, this is not just Jamaica, US. It's around the world. And come on, man, you know, it's time we wake up and oppose those kind of things.
2020 is going to be a year of they used to have a thing where you used to come on every year in Jamaica, like they would tell you about how the year ended.
Yeah.
Give you a rundown of all of the things that happened. But I don't think this one is pure disaster and corruption and everything going on, man.
No, you don't call the year in review.
You know, Teddy, for the last couple of days, and I've been thinking, and I'm looking back, and I'm like, I remember growing up in Jamaica in the 70s and the 80s and see how the political violence used to go on. Trust me, it is coming to America. You hear me? It is coming to America.
But we were the one that always admire how
exactly
system work, and you know when you are behaving in that kind of way. Why can't we behave like America? No. As I said, it has been flipped.
Yeah.
You know, no election here is a model election because the recent election had 40 years. This year is 40 years after that infamous 1980 election that talk about 150 strong can go wrong.
Yes.
Yeah, most bloodiest election of the period. And 40 years after, there was no murder or mayhem take place.
Oh man, America getting out of control. I remember back in the days when I first came here, next door neighbor would be a Republican and the other person beside him a Democrat, and you would see signs on people front lawn going down the block. And you say, them people in a fight each other. Man say, nah, man, but it doesn't mean nothing to the next day, then two of them attack, you know, like nothing ever happened. It changed. It has changed.
Let us look at something here. And this is just a thought came to me. In 1938, when we had the uprising, it was rising of people who were not satisfied with how the system were treating them.
Yes.
Right? And now that gave birth to two tribal parties. And that is when the division started in the country. Let's be honest. Because when we had that uprising in 1930, we were not satisfied with what was going on. And we turned around and said to the system, we don't like what is happening. Right? And then those two, as a matter of fact, the PNP started before the JLP.
Yes, I heard.
So a lot of people know that Buster was part of the PNP.
Oh, before he left?
Yeah, Buster was part of the PNP. And he left because remember.
So Teddy, what you say the uprising started in 1938, but were there any political party that was there before?
That's the point I'm saying to you. That's the point I'm saying to you. It was not about the political party at the time. It was the people who were just tired of what was happening in their country. So as a majority ruled by the minority, the majority to stand up. Just like what happened in 1865. When Bogle and the rest of people that said that we were tired of the way how the minority was treating us, and they rebelled. No, the difference in the 1865 that people suffer the consequences of their action because they were hanged and killed. Yes, I mean because the minority think somehow they ought not to have done that.
Mm-hmm.
That gave birth to the police force that we still have today. That the motto of the police is to serve and protect.
Yeah.
But we ask the question: who do they serve and who do they protect?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not the average person walk on the street, because the average person walk on the street have been harassed by the police force, and that's the reality. So in 1938, when persons could not state the social condition of what was happening,
Mm-hmm.
it started a fire that spread across the country. Because remember, 6 years after 1944, we end up getting universal adult suffrage, the right to vote,
Okay.
right? And again, when you look at that, persons who could have voted, you know what I mean, you must, previous to that, remember,
Mm-hmm.
everything have to be landowner, you have to be able to be literate,
Yes.
woman could not be voting, and all those things. So the point is, came the Manley and the Buster.
Yeah. Okay.
And I said there's a breakaway, and Buster formed the DITU,
Mm-hmm.
because remember both parties came out of the union,
Yes.
and
True.
and they talked about, oh, they know, looking at the right of the working class. But let us look at it historically and look at it today. Let us look at the relevance now of both unions. Ask yourself the question: are they relevant?
Mm-hmm.
Because there are a lot of companies in Jamaica
Both of
who
them have
currently,
died.
one of the things that a lot of companies are doing in Jamaica, and the union cannot stop it, is that they are giving you contracts. Years ago, when you become employed to a company and were given your letter of appointment,
Yes.
so that you will be working with a company for your adult life, you then look forward to a pension.
Mm-hmm.
Also, during that time with the company, you look to go up the corporate ladder within the organization, where you started out on the floor and you might end up being a manager, because Don Banks, who was the first black Jamaican that have run, it was at the time when he joined it was Barclays Bank, and he joined as a teller. And when he resigned, he was the first black managing director of the bank.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So years ago, when you join an organization, you weren't thinking about like how these now millennials are moving around job. You stay with a job for your adult lifetime.
Yes.
And many of the companies that started in Jamaica in the 60s and the 70s, because we started out in Jamaica in they call screwdriver industry, then we move into manufacturing and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, you said that you have to be a for a long time.
Teddy,
Yeah.
not only do you stay at the job for your working life, but you're moving your kids after you.
Yeah.
It just keeps going on.
It's a filter
Yes,
system.
The whole family just work in a place forever.
It's a filter system.
A company like that was like DNG. DNG was a company like that.
I was
because what usually happens is that when holiday jobs come around, when holidays for the school, that's where many of the parents will let their children come and work for the company. And then finally, when the students finish school, because there's one gentleman, he is part of the University of West Indies, a department, I can't recall his name right now, that he used to work there during summer, and then he went on and further his education. And the fortunately or unfortunate, he came and took over the company, the department where his mother was working, and he was his mother boss.
Okay. Hey Teddy,
Yeah.
I'm not going to. I know I'm not. I want to know something more about the two political parties of Jamaica, because you say one was formed in 1938.
No. It was out of the 1938 uprising
Yeah.
that gave birth to the PMP, because the PMP is 82 years old this year.
Yeah, but that was formed in 1938 because of the uprising. So it started
Yeah.
in 1938. Now, the GLP started in what, 42 or 43? Which year?
I think it's I could just get a little bit more, but they both were able to take advantage of the 1944 election, universal adult suffrage.
Okay. So that being said, for the JLP to contest that election, they had was to form before that. All right.
Yeah.
Because of the reason why, why it interests me. I love to hear people tell the story than just go read it on Wikipedia or wherever they have it post up, because sometimes, as we know, Wikipedia is like maybe you could have add information to it. This thing, yeah. So I rather hear it from somebody mouth sometime.
No, the fun thing that you said that to me, I think I have to get back some information, because the fun thing about it, Norman Manley was not the founder of the party,
No, because that's what I'm saying, because I remember somebody used to tell me about some guy named Fear Child or Fear, can't remember, I know some Fear something. Like Fear.
He came from Haiti, because he was working in the bank in Haiti and came to Jamaica, because remember, Haiti being the first country of free slaves and the first independence within the region.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, he was working there. He was climbing the corporate ladder.
Yeah.
And so when he came to Jamaica and he saw that it was, as they call it, the mulattoes in control along the privilege, then he opposed it.
Okay.
And so the Blake, Vivian Blake, I'm going to just put the information together, because as a matter of fact, as I speak here, let me go on my bookshelf.
Because sometimes when you hear other people tell the story based on what is written, put out on the internet, it's totally different.
Okay, there is a book that I have right in my hand here now called W. Manley, The Making of Modern Jamaica. This was written by Arnold Bertram.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, well-known politician too as well. That's good.
One of them. Okay. Okay.
But Flavius.
Okay. The birth of the National Party, page 163.
Okay.
Hold on. 163. Give me 163. Okay. All right. The birth of the People's National Party in September 1938 marked a major milestone in the evolution of Norman Manley political views. Up to the labor rebellion of the same year, Manley had consistently refused all invitations to become involved in electoral politics. This position was based on his analysis that Jamaican problems were economic and social, not political. Yet even as he distanced himself from the electoral politics, more discerning minds had recognized in Norman Manley the attributes of a political personality very early in his professional life. An editorial in the Gleaner of November 1925, just 3 years after his return, describe him as a man who will win the attention of his audience, whether it be an audience of learned judge, politicians, government officers, or the working public. He will always command us and yes. Norman Manley's first call to political leadership came in 1936 when O.T. Fairclough invited him to take the lead in the formation of the Nationalist Party, but he declined. By then, March 1937, Ken Hill received a similar response when he sought Manley leadership in the National Reform Association. As late as May 1937, in an audience with the Jewish Literacy Society, Manley still maintained his distance from personal political involvement. I just want to. All right. I just wanted to. On April 12th, Cecil Beckford and Percival James launched their Jamaica Labour Party at a public meeting in Kingston. Immediately started recruiting candidates to contest the seat for the Kingston and St. Andrew Corporation. Election scheduled for September 1938. They invited Norman Manley to stand as candidate. Again, he refused to be drawn into the electoral politics. While Manley hesitated, the Federation of Citizens Association, led by E. Campbell and C.A. Isaac Henry, took the initiative to advance its political agenda by naming a slate of 6 candidates for the same Kingston and St. Andrew Corporation election. All were successful. The People's Party, publishing Public Opinion, 12th of March 1938, the NRA announced plans for the coalition of various elements into a political party. I just wanted to jumpstart. I just wanted to give the party launch. Yes. So, all right. In the heat of 1938 Labour rebellion, O.T. Fairclough, still hoping to persuade Manley to consider his view on the role of the politics in Jamaican development, seized the opportunity to raise the issue again. This time, he had the assistance of Edna Manley, who invited him to John Blair, and John Blair is part of at the time it was considered Upper St. Andrew, because in those periods there was no Beverly Hills and there was no Cherry Garden, and these are the up areas of Kingston. So John Blair is currently in the Waterloo area of that era of New Kingston.
Okay.
Invited to Blair, where he engaged Norman in an extensive discussion. This time, he found a far more receptive Norman Manley. Manley's involvement in the 1938 Labour Rebellion had broadened his perspective as the fundamental changes required to raise the living standard for the overwhelming majority of Jamaicans. And by the end of the rebellion, it had become clear that the social and economic change he envisioned could not take place within a political framework established by the British colonialism. As early as May 26, Manley sent out an appeal for people sincerely on the side of Labour to assist in establishing a Labour committee. For him, one of the most important tasks of the committee was to lay a foundation for a genuine Labour Party in Jamaica. While the model Manley had in mind was the British Labour Party, a small but dynamic group of Jamaicans led by Richard Hart, seized the opportunity to engage a wider audience as to the kind of party most appropriate the political environment. To this end, they engaged New York-based member of the Jamaican Progressive League, which still stands today. But what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to put in a nutshell a synopsis of the start of both the PNP and the JLP.
Yes.
As you said, the rebellion came from the people in 1938.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no political party representing the people.
All right.
So I'm given a chance, now that you mention it, to look in up because this was a copy Arnold Bertram gave to me in 2016, August 2016.
And the reason why I ask you, sorry, the reason why I ask you, because I remember I searched one time on the internet, Wikipedia, and it came out that the party was found in August 1938. And in the book there that you just read, Arnold Bertram said September 1938.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And you also mentioned in the same book the Jamaica Labour Party, started as well, but maybe it wasn't established.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Well, like I said, I'm going to go through because Fairclough played
vital role.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, because there's a section here that I was looking at. Fairclough's opposition to universal adult suffrage was underpinned by the hero worship of Bustamante, which he had witnessed during the labor rebellion of 1938.
Okay.
He was not, since that man was more naive in not recognizing that universal adult suffrage would only open the door for Buster, who already had the mass organized as a member of the DITU.
Mm-hmm.
These were the perspective of Manley, Fairclough, and Hill, the three personalities who have been central to the discussion on the need for political party in Jamaica, as well as a kind of party that was most relevant to the Jamaican state of development. Manley had clearly moved closer to accepting the political leadership when he addressed a meeting convened by the National Reform Association in August 1938.
Mm-hmm.
The meeting held in the Collegiate Hall attracted a large crowd, which included Bustamante. In his address, Manley began with the admission, "I am not a professional politician. I have never myself taken any active part in politics as they exist in Jamaica today." He then went on to declare, "I have ambition for the thousands who I know are more alive than ever today for unity in this country," and ended with the recognition that a political party would promote unity, collective action to address the country problem. The party he envisioned was a party of the people,
mm-hmm.
a party of the basic elements of the country out of which the future of the country must be built. The meeting was reported in the Gleaner of August 11, 1938 under the caption, "Unite in one political party," urged Mr. Manley.
Mm-hmm.
So, I said that first meeting, Buster was there.
Okay. Hey, sometimes when you hear them story, it's really fascinating to me, and the reason being because you're going to find somebody write another book that might go even deeper into some things that Arnold never mentioned in his book. And I like for listen as a elder said to me, always listen, and talk to the elders because their stories are more better than what somebody going just come out and tell you what them hear. Talk to
You
those
know, the
people.
one that I admire, Anna Burton have written quite a few books himself.
Yeah, and I've seen a
Well,
documentary with him too.
yes. Finally, on August 28, 1938, the People's National Party was formed, established at a conference held at the Silver Slippers Club in Crossroads in St. Andrew. Representatives from the organization, together with those from the 14 parish ward and to participate in this historic event. Committee comprised of Norman Manley as chairman, O.T. Fairclough as secretary, H.P. Jacob, N.N. Nothersoul, who was then the former governor of the Bank of Jamaica and is directed at the Bank of Jamaica downtown.
Jamaica, yeah. And he's also on the $20 bit note.
Yes. Then you have W.G. McFarlane and Reverend O.G. Pencil was appointed to draft the constitution of the party.
Wow,
so
interesting.
So you see, like you, I like to talk when I have the facts in front of me.
Oh yes, that's what that's the whole beauty of it. The facts is there, but we don't find it from researching or going to people who really know some of the facts.
Yeah, man.
And it's always there. The hearsay, because I remember as a kid growing up, I used to hear people talk about the two parties, and the two leaders was Norman Manley and Bustamante. That they were like the two forefront runners. And they used to say Buster tricked Norman in order to get what you call it, the prime ministership in 1962. So it's a lot. Sometimes you hear some people start talk something, you say, you draw you closer to them for listening and for know, because somebody else going to know a version of it.
Yeah,
it wasn't Buster that tricked him. It's the British tricked both of them.
Yeah.
The British tricked
this part here. This part here, Franco. The People's National Party was launched that afternoon at the imposing War Theatre located at North Parade in downtown Houston. The theatre was filled to capacity with another 5,000 people gathered outside for the public launch of the party. N.N. Nothersoul chaired the afternoon proceedings. Alexander Bustamante, C.A. Little, a teacher and member of the Legislative Council, H.G. Anglin Jones of the Jamaica JUT, and along with prominent personalities seated on the platform. Considering Bustamante's statue in the National Labour Movement, it seems surprising that he was not invited to address the audience. Sir Stafford Cripps began his address by recognizing the birth of a new political party representing all that is best and most progressive in Jamaican life. Then he frankly admitted the very racist character of the British imperialism, which withholds self-government, especially where the numerical majority of the people fight in color. He went on to give the audience extremely valuable lesson on the importance of struggle against imperialism. He declared, no imperial spirit ever have or ever will develop the culture of colonial people, because culture spell independence and independence spell the end of the empire. I want to see the end of the empire in this world because the imperial method of world development has plunged us into wars after wars and will go on plunging us into war until civilization is destroyed. Norman Manley, in his address on September 18th, infusing national movement with a sense of purpose. So, as I said, the launch took place at the War Theatre.
That's another historical building right there, so.
There
So
you
it's
go.
history is all over the place. Another historical building. Because
There
I
you
hear
go.
some
So,
story of that building, how it all built, like it was like 3 buildings. It on the
no,
same
but
site, that same site.
War Theatre was a gift from Colonel Ward.
Yes, yes, I heard about that. And they said that same site, that theater was built on it 3 different times. Like one building was demolished and they built back another building, or expand it. So it's good. Good.
So I should know that the first established meeting was held on August 20, 1938 at Silver Slipper Club in Crossroads.
Wow.
And
Yes.
right? And then it was launched in the afternoon at the imposing War Theatre. Same on August 28th. Like I said, know that you have provoked my hold on.
I just wake up your history book.
Just reading something here. It was however a fundamental error on Manley's part to have calculated on any sustained cooperation with Buster around political objectives. Although he attended the founding conference, remember we talked about that conference in August of 28 because remember who were in attendance.
Buster was in attendance too, yeah.
Right. No. When we had
the one
no.
When
the conference, when the first committee meets, it is at the launch. Buster was at the launch, but he was not part of the committee that comprised. Right.
So what it says, Nether Soul.
Right. What it says here that although he attended the founding conference of the PNP, Bustamante did not join the party until January 1939 as a member of the Metropolitan Group. Significant. This was a group dominated by the left wing of the PNP, including Ken Hill, who was also vice president of the BITU. No, this is Ken Hill, Listen, Ken Hill was also a vice president of BITU. Buster support for the PNP seemed to have been his way of reciprocating the considerable help that Manley and other PNP leaders have given him in establishing the BITU.
Okay.
So the BITU was started before the Jamaica Labour Party.
Okay.
To Manley, from which the following excerpt was taken. I am just as much interested in the People's National Party, of which you are president, just as anxious to see it continue making a great hit, as I am about the union in which I am president. I make it my point of duty not alone to bring it vividly before the public, but instruct my officers from head office that wherever they go, they must bring the People's National Party to the attention of the people. The alliance barely lasted for 1 month. On February 14, Buster declared his intention to call a general strike in protest against what he described as a campaign by employer on 4 sugar estates to separate his BITU delegates from their job on trump-up charges in order to weaken the union. Manley advised against the strike and recommend actions against each of the 4 estates. Buster seemed willing to take Manley advice until an incident between himself and his old rival, A.J.S. Coombs, caused him to call the general strike he had threatened. The governor responded by calling a state of emergency while strikebreakers were recruited to temporarily replace Bustamante unionized workers. The strike was a colossal failure. In the end, it was Manley who saved Buster by securing the support governor for setting up a trade union advisory council, TUAC, in order to establish a rational procedure. The membership comprises Norman Manley, legal advisor, Ross Livingston, BITU solicitor, E.E.A. Campbell, member of the Legislative Council, W. Adolph Roberts, president of the Jamaica Progressive League, H.P. Jacob, educator and member of the PMP General Council, W.A. Domingo, vice president of Jamaica Progressive League, J.A.G. Edwards, secretary of the BITU, P.A. Atkins, civil leader, Noel Nethersole, solicitor and vice president, PNP. So you can see within all of this, the JLP didn't even emerge yet.
Yeah. The JLP model them their party off what the PNP started first.
There you go. Because Buster was part of the PNP. Yes.
But from what I'm hearing, that Buster didn't start the BITU either.
Yeah, he started with support, meaning that how I understand it from what I'm reading is that the BITU, because remember, if we go according to the information, I'm just looking at something here.
Hold on, let me just tell you something. Let me tell you something. The man who was fighting for the people at the time, even before Buster, is a man named Sir William Grant, St. William Grant.
Yes. St. William Grant was
is him the park was named after too? The park downtown. It was not that park was named after him. Okay.
But also the
all right.
Buster went with him and then take away everything.
Hold
That's
on.
what I'm hearing.
It was him who introduced Buster to the masses.
Yeah.
Said William Grant. Because the people didn't want to hear from Buster because remember, Buster, when Buster returned from Panama, he was in Jamaica. A lot of people didn't know that he was he was lending people money, right?
Yeah.
And,
he was
right.
Money lender.
Was a loan shark.
No, they had a name for it in those years.
User, them used to call him. User. Yeah, user. I know one in my community.
Yeah, the thing is, a lot of people didn't like him because of that. So when he was there publicly to talk to the people, it was Sir William Grant who said, listen to him, man, make it talk. But what disappointed me though was Buster moved on later on to become Prime Minister of Jamaica. And he didn't do anything to help Sir William Grant because Sir William Grant died in arbitrary at the time Minister of Housing in the guardhouse. They didn't find anybody for the Monday.
Okay. Anyway, gentlemen, with that, we're going to come to an end. I give you guys an extra 10 minutes just for hear the story because it hold me. It hold me, you know. I read, you see all the name come up back, usually. I used to know a usually in a mic on Rose Lane, you know. You know, when I was a kid. Yeah. And I never know that, you know that talk about it. I know him used to lend money, but I just used to figure, say, boy, it was just because, when people have partner, him used to run all partner to you, So, hey, you never know. Things you're going to learn when you come to the real stuff. And Teddy's around.
Oh, yeah.
And Teddy's around. So, yeah, the man who makes sure, say, boy, him know the facts. Him not going to tell us, say, him hear, say. And that was good, Teddy, you draw for that Arnold Bertram book, because I saw a documentary with Arnold Bertram was telling, in that documentary he was talking about 1958, that the World Bank, he had loaned or given Jamaica X amount of dollars for them to build schools. Among them was supposed to be technical schools, college, and university. Where that happened, how many of them they built, God, he knows.
Oh, that is another story.
Yeah, well, so thank you, Teddy, for taking time out of your busy schedule and for, enlightening our brain this morning. Light it up.
I can tell you one thing, because of the inclement weather, I decided to go into office today. And so that's how comes the listeners and yourself could benefit, because I wouldn't have this book at work.
True.
I have it at home. So at least I wouldn't be able to pull it.
It's good you have the book, man. It's good. It's good because, you see, we find some key point about the two parties and how they farm. And the next thing I'm going to come to, since we're touching on the BITU, is the the NTU, the National Trade Union, how all that started as well. So we keep wasn't it
NTU.
the National Workers Union. So with all that we can, deal with that.
Because there was other union formed, the TUC was formed long before the NW and a couple other unions, I remember also that Marcus Garvey was also part of a union.
Okay. So a whole lot of things, a whole lot of stuff.
Also, remember he was also a counselor. At KSAC.
See? And we only get them things that when it's, politics is around in other countries, Jamaica, and the US, and that's good. So let me hear your 2 cents flavors before we get out of here. Flavors.
Well, I'm going to tomorrow is in the US, so we're going to spend a little time with that tomorrow. Franco Flavius, we'll be doing that. And we will come on, give their opinion as we look at the news throughout the day. When it's back to money. We are our money specialist, life, Nation coming back to speak to us about.
She'll be talking about finance, family financing, and
the whole thing.
Bank and banking.
Bank and banking.
Yeah, and bank and banking.
Yeah.
And on Thursday we have cook and curry and poetry with Mr. Errol Sinclair doing the cook and curry. Courtney Laidley will be doing poetry.
On Thursday we have
You already mentioned that. So with that, Teddy.
Yes.
Yes, sir. So we thank you again, Teddy. Give me your little 1 minute roundup.
No, like I mentioned, one other thing that you just mentioned that is going to be on the program for the coming week is looking at economic wealth. And at the end of the day, even the election that has been taking place in the U.S., it boils down to one thing. Who can garner down the most money to make things happen.
Yeah.
It's the question that I always tell people, it is the donor who run the party. Mm-hmm. It's the donor, and the lobbyists, or you say the lobbyists, they need to be passed. Yeah.
The lobbyists, them define the bills that pass in the Congress,
Yeah, you go. And it happens globally, The minority will always control the majority, and it's something not going to change unless we're not going to see change for now. That's the bottom.
It's not going to change for now. You're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, man. So I said thanks to all the listeners and the person. I didn't enjoy. I know that you let me take over this book. I'm going to make sure I read and make a notation so we can share next time on the program.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, because it was interesting. Because it's what to be honest with you, Franco. Sometimes you end up getting something and you just put it on the bookshelf.
And you were able to draw for it.
Because in truth and fact, when I get it from Anna Bertram, I didn't spend time going through it because so busy and all of that. But now that you say in Dublin, Manly, the making of modern Jamaica, a bit of insight now that I am now peak my appetite.
And it's the week to where the party going to decide who going lead the party and who going to lead the opposition as well.
Yeah, there you go.
So that's good. That's good.
All right. And I said we'll do it all over again. Life, spirit, and God's willing.
Yeah, man.
We will on I'll be back with you next Monday.
All right, Teddy. Walk good here. One love, my brother.
Yeah, good then.
All right. And so we're gonna ask Lubafu to give us the Our Father in the Garifuna language.
You lead us to Fula. You belong far away away. Ajuguala lebo buseru. Lida mua, lida sungfula. Lida mua, lida sungfula.
And Tafina to take us out.
Well, unfortunately, this is it. Till next time. Bless.
All you gotta do is just speak. One word is enough, and I'm no longer so rough. I forget what I was trying to say. I no longer do what I was gonna do, but you're no good for me. That's why me know I said me if it go flee. Me have to take away me say. Me have to take away me say. Me have to hide like a thief in the night. Me have to get out as I. Me have to take away myself. I have to take away myself. I have to utilize I wings. Surely I cleave her.
Well, unfortunately, this is it. Till next time. Bless.
This relationship I'm gonna desist. But how can I face you when all I wanna do is just taste you? I know you think I play me, but soon you're gonna see
Well, unfortunately, this is it. Till next time. Bless.
over inch, I'll be gone in a pinch. May I feel take away myself. May I feel take away myself. May I feel hide like a thief in the night. May I forget out of sight.